Hello everyone, welcome back to my channel. In today's video, we're gonna go over ARK Invest's latest report for their big ideas for 2023. Now, they go over different areas such as AI and EV vehicles. However, they also have a very nice portion talking about Bitcoin. And that's what I want to share with you today. So let's jump right into it. Okay, so they say Bitcoin, a durable network. We believe Bitcoin's long-term opportunities is strengthening. Despite a turbulent year, Bitcoin has not escaped a bit. Its network fundamentals have strengthened and its holder base has become more long-term focused. Contagion caused by centralized counterparties has elevated value propositions, decentralization, auditability, and transparency. The price of one Bitcoin could exceed $1 million over the next decade. All right, so big statement there from ARK Invest, but let's see what data they are sharing with us. So in this first graph here, they say the drawdown from Bitcoin's all-time high was the fifth largest and second longest in history. So apparently in this graph, what they're doing is they are comparing different bear markets. So we have here the yellow graph is the bear market in 2011. Then we have other bear markets in 2013 to 2015. That will be the orange line here. And we have another bear market in 2017, in 2018. And then the last one, they're calling the bear market there from November 2021 to November 2022. And as you can see, all the bear market pretty much look similar. And they are basically, through this graph, calling the bottom of November 2022 price as $15,800. They're calling that to be the bottom of the previous bear market. In here, on this graph here, we have the peak price, the date and the price, and the drop, the date and the price, and also the drawdowns here. So what is interesting to me in this graph here is that they are actually calling the bottom of the Bitcoin price to be in November of 2022 or in 2022 here at a price of $15,800. So for those of you who are wondering if we could go to another bottom or if we are just going up in price from here, I think that they are pretty much calling a bottom in 2022. All right, so the next graph here, it looks like they are comparing volatility to other asset classes. So it says, despite severe drawdowns, Bitcoin has outperformed every major asset class over longer time horizons. All right, so apparently what they're doing here is over a time horizon of 5 years, 4 years, and 3 years, they are comparing global equities, global debt, gold, and Bitcoin. And they are saying that Bitcoin is have been the asset class with the lowest volatility, which is great. Most people think that Bitcoin is very volatile, and don't get me wrong, I think it is as well. However, we have seen that with the previous economic conditions, a lot of more stable, quote unquote, asset classes had also been very volatile as well. All right, so in the next graph here, I found this graph to be very interesting because, as you can see, we have crossed that price of $50,800 several times over the history, the price history of Bitcoin. So first we have here in 2018, when Bitcoin was increasing in price, and then we have BTC dropped down 77% from its all-time high. That happened around 2019 here. Then we rise again in price. And that happened between 2020 and 2021 here. And then we went back to that $15,800 level. However, in each time, the circumstances were different. And this is what they are talking about in this graph here. And they are looking at different Bitcoin metrics when we cross that $15,800 level. So they are looking at market cost basis, basically was the highest in the last time that we crossed that price. Cost basis per BTC was also $20,000. So a lot of people have a cost basis that was higher to that of $15,800 compared to when we have been at that price, the same price before. The hash rate is also the highest that had been. Supply of BTC last move over 1 year ago is 66.5%. BTC addresses also the highest that it had been. Long-term holder supplies at 71.8%. And the Lightning Network capacity shows 4,700 BTC. So as you can see, even though we have been at that price point of $15,800 several times, the circumstances surrounding that price are a lot different now. All right, so the next graph is talking about Bitcoin capitulation, and it says Bitcoin capitulation has hit levels associated with price throughout in the past. So basically, here, real quick, it's just showing that the amount of people who capitulated is peak at 68.3%. So it says in 2022, the percent of Bitcoin supply trading at a loss peak at 68.3%, exceeding that in every previous bear market. So if you think about it, most people will be inclined to sell when they are at a loss, but then at some point that stops and that gets to a peak, and that is what happened in 2022. So all the people who wanted to get out at a loss, in other words, basically got out at a loss in 2022. All right, so let's keep on going here. Next is Bitcoin holders are more long-term focused at any than at any point in history. So this is very interesting too. They are basically saying that the people holding Bitcoin for a longer period of time, and in this case, they are calling long-term any period of time longer than 155 days, so approximately 6 months. That is the longest that have been at any point in history. So as you can see, we have here what we call the hodlers, the people who are buying Bitcoin just to hold it, have been increasing over time, which is a great proof that a lot of people just want to buy it and then hold it for investment purposes because they believe that is going to increase in price. Okay, so the next one here is it shows exchanges have increased transparency in response to collapse of trust in centralized crypto entities. So 2022, as we know, was a very rocky year for crypto, where a lot of trust was lost in institutions. And as a consequence of that, a lot of centralized exchanges basically either redo their audit or presented more updated data of their audit situation. So in here we have, for example, from all of these exchanges, the ones that public their audit in 2022 were Binance, Bybit, Crypto.com, Deribit, and KuCoin. And so I'm not sure really as far as the requirements for exchanges to actually present publicly this type of data or do an audit of their financials. But apparently, because they wanted to regain the trust of customers, a lot of exchanges basically did this updated version of their financings, which is really good. All right, so next we have that Bitcoin hash rate hit all-time high in 2022. which is great because we can see that even though we were going through a bear market, well, the hash rate decreased a little bit here, but it still is at an all-time high. Even though we went through a bear market and we have a big decrease in price, the hash rate did not decrease as much, or it continued to reach all-time high levels, which is great because that means a lot of people have trust in the network, in the blockchain, and that also helps secure the blockchain even more. Okay, so next it says Bitcoin mining is harnessing and containing natural gas emissions. So in here, it just shows that it shows the emission from emissions, also vented methane emissions, and the annual methane needed for current Bitcoin hash rate, which is just 25 cubic meters in billions. All right. So, and as you can see here with this graph, it says that with the introduction of Bitcoin mining at oils and gas well sites, independent Bitcoin miners could become profitable. So that is just the normal economics of when energy becomes more expensive. Obviously, is more costly for miners to run their equipment. All right. So next we have institutions are committing to Bitcoin during a bear market. So we have several statements all the way from BlackRock, BNY Mellon, Eagle Brook Advisors, and Fidelity. I'm sure if you follow the news during 2022, you have seen this highlight here. So I'm not going to go all of those individually, but it's just to show that we have more and more institutional adoption, which is great. All right. And the last graph with respect to Bitcoin, it says Bitcoin is likely to scale into a multi-trillion-dollar market. And here's where they are finally talking about price. In this case, they are showing a bear case, base case, and bull case. So in the bear case, the price is $258,500, base case $682,800, and in the bull case is $1.48 million. And in order to get to those price targets, they're basically looking at penetration rates of all of these Bitcoin use cases. So they are assigning different percentage to each use case. So, for example, just to give you an example here, for digital gold, they're saying that for a bear market, they need at least a penetration of 20%, but for a bull market, that will be 50%. Or, for example, institutional investment, for a bear market will be 1%, and for a bull market, that will be 6.5%. So it depends on how much use case is there, how much adoption is there of Bitcoin. They're assigning a different percentage to that, and that is how they are getting to $1.48 million. All right, so there you have it. You can definitely go and download this report from ARK Invest on their big ideas for 2023 from their website. I will highly encourage you to be familiar with this report because they are just a great resource of information. And yeah, with respect to what they say about Bitcoin, I think it's also very interesting in terms of what data they are presenting and how really they analyze with reasoning and data behind it, how Bitcoin price could increase in the future. All right. So with that, thank you so much for watching. If you like this type of content, I will encourage you to click like and subscribe, and I will see you in the next video. Thank you.